The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Well, hello, family and friends. Last Minute Improv Facebook Live. So happy for you to join. I'm really excited. Going to have my amazing best friend, one of my bestest of friends, Cindy, and business partner. And yes, she is coming now. We're going to have an awesome combo. So, hey, Hillary. Yay, my crazy mother founder is here. I love you. So excited for your mission and your nonprofit. And yeah, we're doing my Armed Radio show. Hey, Lou. Hey, Leela. We're going to do my Armed Radio show tonight. It airs Wednesday at 6 o'clock, but our producers have us filming the show in advance and gives them time to edit and cut. And we are on iHeartRadio. Check us out at Armed Radio. And really exciting. Lots of listeners and followers over there from a variety of topics. And Cindy, I see you, and it says that you're trying to be added. I'm approving you. Okay, can't bring Cindy Boyum on camera. There's already a guest on broadcast. I'm not sure. It shows adding you. But I'm just going to talk for people watching right now. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful Sunday night while we troubleshoot. Try it again, Cindy. I don't know about you guys, if you guys have these kinds of issues or if it's just me, but tomorrow is Monday. I love Mondays. Hey, Marianne. All of our listeners and followers right now are part of our movement, our health and wellness movement when it comes to advocating for the next generation of our children and healing the generation of children that already exists from issues that are transpiring. Hey, Brianna. And many of you guys know, let's see, Cindy, I'm still trying to add you. Many of you guys know that Robert F. Kennedy, very exciting, won the lawsuit against HHS. So that's super exciting. Most of us with families that are on scene for decades, like mine, my son, vaccine injured, will be 18. We're really excited. We've known for this entire time that there's been no safety studies done for those of you that have children that are not, in fact, injured. Hi, good evening from Oklahoma. You're here.
I'm here.
Yay. I'm just going to, hi. I'm going to finish a thought for people watching, just and then we'll get started on the Armed Radio show. But I was telling them about Robert F. Kennedy and the HHS lawsuit that he won that basically showed there's been no safety testing done on the vaccinations this entire time, which those of us with families that have been impacted, we've known. But nonetheless, let's get going with our Armed Radio show. So I will, in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Armed Radio. I'm super excited tonight for our amazing guest, Cindy Boyum. And yes, I learned your last name, Boyum. Exactly how it sounds, Boyum. Yeah. So thanks for joining us at Armed Radio. For those that are watching on Facebook Live, you can also check us out on Armed Radio. And we do have a fan page, Armed Radio, as well as a group. So Cindy, excited to have you here. I did title this particular show, What Should We Name Our Show? Because you and I are going to be doing our own show together. I'm super excited. I was introducing you as my bestie and business partner and client, and I guess all of the above in so many different regards, but you're just amazing. So tell everybody about yourself, what you do, who you are.
Well, my name is Cindy Boyum, as Jamie said, Boyum. She was saying it right, so it's just Boyum, right? So I'm Cindy Boyum, and I do lots of different things. I have tons of passions, but currently, I guess I do a lot of different types of coaching or strategizing, and that's kind of what Jamie and I are going to be talking about as far as like naming our show. But I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach. I've been in the fitness industry for years. I've been coaching the high school swim team for years. I've always been into food, nutrition, fitness, and very passionate about that. Taught lots of fitness classes over the years through pregnancy, loved it, and went on to get this board certification in wellness coaching in a field that was really opening up and looking outside of just towing the line in the health field that tends to look at just food and fitness, and broadening it out into the wellness fields, looking at a whole person. So I received my first certification through the Mayo Clinic, and I enjoyed it. And then what I did is I went out and I started a new concept club that really looked at the whole person, and not just making an assumption when somebody came into the fitness club. We call it Factory Fitness and Wellness, but we looked at the whole person. We didn't make the assumption that they wanted to come in to just lose weight or get leaner. And it was that, again, that health line. Some people came in because they suffered from depression. Some people came in because they struggled to have a connection in the community. Some people came in because they were looking to lose weight. So I kind of went outside the box, took what I loved in the industry, brought it along, and left the rest, and decided to go a different direction to look at people as a whole. And so after that, I also started to bring in a lot more mindset stuff, because those people that are really into fitness tend to be people that are very high energy, but they don't have that downside. That's kind of the spiritual grounding side. So I started to do a lot more training in that side of self-actualization, self-awareness, and just looking at how to help people kind of get where they're at to where they want to be, whether it's fitness, whether it's in mindset, whatever it may be, to be able to help kind of provide that extra support that's not a family or a friend, because sometimes they get biased opinions. We walk around collecting so many opinions. And so it's
so true.
The wellness kind of coaching and strategizing, we look at, like, I really listen to what you want and then how to get you there. So that's kind of what I'm up to. Plus coaching high school. Actually, high school swimming starts tomorrow morning, bright and early. So I'll be up nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. You teach inside the schools a lot, not just in the swim coach arena, but in the mindset and helping the kids that we've talked a lot about with spirituality, which you can't really because it's a school district, and we all know that the school district has certain policies, and so how we get in there and work directly with students on mindset, if you will. But a lot of it is, how do we differentiate between the mind, body, and the spirit, aspects.
Yeah, and that's kind of a tricky path, because these kids are being exposed to, well, a lot of things, A, on the internet, right? But B, just like the new concepts that, I didn't really hear about years ago. And so kind of bring that in. And so the school district actually asked me to come in and do mindfulness training,
right,
actually. And so I said, I'm a yes to that. But before that, we have to do self-awareness training, because a lot of these kids these days are so outside of themselves. They don't even know what they want. They're exposed to so much that they don't really know who they are. They don't really know what they want. So if you ask kids what they want, sometimes they just don't have a clue, or they feel guilty to want anything. I'm
in my 40s and I don't know what I want. I mean, we can't even name our show. We're like, what should we name our show?
What do you want? What the hell do you want? So it's been really great to sit with these teens and really look at, like, hey, we can go into the mindfulness and calm the mind, but first, let's get self-aware that's preventing us to get into the space of finding more self-awareness, into mindfulness, into spirituality. So it was a nice way to get into the school district to teach concepts without having the spirituality piece getting in the way and conflicting what the school wants to bring in. So that's been great. Kids are loving it, having more fun, more self-aware, understanding friendships better, understanding themselves, communication, owning what's theirs, ditching what's not, taking radical responsibility. So it's been great. And I figure if we can figure out how to do this with teens, then those of us in our 40s, we can get it too, right?
Totally. Well, I know for me, it's been an interesting journey I started out as a teacher. I started out teaching junior high and then went into high school for a little bit. I became a school counselor and then a marriage and family therapist, behavior analyst, blah, 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 blah. But I remember, it's that maturity thing even now where I look back on my career within school districts. I've owned schools. I've developed mental health clinic. As we have this gap in children really understanding themselves. I think a lot of it went from religious indoctrination. If we look at maybe historically, the times 2000 and prior, and then, in the 1900s, what started to happen between public education, which, you and I have talked exclusively, and a lot of people know I don't really believe in public education. I'm like on the fence. I think that it should be competitive. I'm a huge believer in charter schools. Even that, just compensatory. I don't believe that we should have to take tax dollars and pay, and we don't have to get political. But school districts are here, and they're here to stay, and that's okay. But the paradigm shift, I think, in losing religion, the separation of church and state, absolutely. But what was that impact over the last 100 years that we can look at that has now impacted child development, behavior, relationship development, understanding yourself as a growing human being. Then you've got paradigm shifts with working adults, that mothers are no longer in the home when a lot of the children are coming home from school. You have dads that are taking over and parenting the children. So, there's a lot of shifts that have happened. And how do children, especially, adolescents and teenagers that are in crucial developmental stages, learning to understand the sense of I? Who am I? Why am I here? Where do I go if something happens? So all of these questions, and yet schools are not allowed to talk about it.
No.
Essentially.
Yeah, they're not. And what you're seeing is this high level of anxiety in these kids trying to get through all of these, shifts and changes that are not only having, effect on our society, but just on themselves. And the level of anxiety has just increased. I always say, some of these kids have anxiety at the level of a person that's, 40 and getting divorced. I'm like, what are you doing up here?
Yeah, panic attacks. Panic
attacks.
Yeah, social anxiety, fear of going to school.
Yeah,
all of it. Fear of even recess time, fear of, dating. We are so ramped with fear. You're exactly right.
Yeah. And then how do we bring that down? And then this anxiety that's leading into depression, it's leading into just a number of things. Like I always say, we won't have to worry about overpopulation, because these kids will be so stressed they won't be able to even have children. And I'm like, let's bring the stress level down, try to figure it out. But it goes back into knowing self, like getting inside of knowing what is happening with them, and bring that into the school district. And, their parents can feel the same way. Like we joke, like, gosh, I'm 40 years old and I don't even know what I want, right?
Right.
Like, let's get going. What are you going to want? Because there's that fear. Like, if our kids don't stop this, high level of anxiety or fears, then what? Like, how are they going to be, functioning adults? So then they have the parent side of just tons of fear. So I see that in my coaching practice, and and with the strategies of not only with the teens, but with the parents, because the parents have so much fear. So we have so much fear going on in this society of fear of failure. Well, what if, the what ifs and what ifs and what ifs, and what if I go out, with this boy? What if this happens? So really being there to support a shift for these kids in a new world that, even their parents might not even be able to help support them in some of that. So
I think that's exactly what's happening. Parents don't really even know how to support the development of their own children nowadays. And I was thinking about it is that we're kind of inundated with technology. Even you and I here on Facebook, and then having a radio show, is there's so much content now. There's so much data. There's so much available to parents of all variety and spectrum of their children or their nieces and nephews if they don't have children, whether they're special needs or they're typically developing, that there's so much content now. A lot of people just don't know where to even start, or what specialty to use, what intervention to use, what religion. We've got so many things with religion on the decline. Are you Christian? Are you Muslim? Are you Jewish? Are you Buddhist? Are you Hindu? Are you atheist? Are you agnostic? All of these conversations are running around playgrounds and recess time and breaks now amongst school. You also have like you said, the concept of dating and where, how do I engage in a conversation with people? So, there's a lot we could talk about. Why don't you share some helpful strategies, models that you have used with some of the kids?
Well, one of the things that, I've used with the kids is that we really look at kind of what the mind does and how we kind of have created this society where we created a model of a lot of victimization, and that these kids feel very victimized in life, and there's a lot of fear. So we kind of step back and take this triangle model of victim, villain, hero out and have them step outside of it and begin to become empowered. So one of the strategies is to get really radically aware of when you're upset, why you're upset, and how to get back into self and be empowered by using some tools such as really being aware of this trigger triangle, looking at some of these universal fears that we walk around with. The fear of being unworthy is huge for kids. Like, I'm not enough, and if I'm not enough, what happens? Am I going to be abandoned?
I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not wealthy enough. I'm not athletic enough.
And one of the things, people tell me things all the time, and you just, you hear a lot of different things. But one of the things that actually shocked me the most was a 16-year-old that said, I am not worthy because I don't have a thigh gap. I was like, a thigh gap.
What's a thigh gap?
What's a thigh gap, right? I said, I'm thinking I know what a thigh gap is because I'm in fitness. I'm like, you mean the space between your thighs? You actually have a gap? And she said, yeah. I won't be good enough until I have a space between my thighs. So it gets down to that minuscule type of thing, right? Like, we're thinking money and boyfriends and beauty, but it can get down to a thigh gap. And it's shocking, but it's true. But it goes back to lots of different social media stuff, like, the way they Photoshop photos, like, let's just shave out that little thigh gap that, extra thigh, fat, take it off. So, the feeling of being unworthy is so universal, but then you put it with these teens, and then they see it every day. And then if they're unworthy, will they even be accepted? Will they be rejected? Will they be abandoned? Can they even trust themselves? So we look at some of these things that all people feel, make them normal. We laugh about them. We joke about them, but we know that they're serious, but we try not to take them so seriously that the kids can't kind of process it. So that's the other part, is really just taking time to allow these kids, like, present this concept, look at it, play with it, and not take it so seriously, so that when it comes up in their life, they can be like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm really trying to hero up on my friend and save the day until that friend turns against them, and then they're confused. So there's a lot of confusion of what's going on. And take that confusion out, set it down, and have it be something where they can see it, is something that I love to do with these teens and adults too. Like I said, it works for all of us, really.
It does work. I mean, even with my nonverbal autism specialty, I talk to the children like they're, typical, and they're cognizant, and they understand it too once they start typing to us. And I think I use the model, the victim, persecutor, savior. And I also like to explain it to the children or teenagers for them to go then teach it to their parents. So we can also have the incorporation. So even if we're not working necessarily with the parents or people that are the adults, the guardian in their life, that it's kills two birds with one stone, is because you get the information to them, but then that child, that teenager, kids really get it. If they're younger, they use cartoon models. If they're teenagers, you can watch it play out in a variety of movies that they're watching. But I also like to teach that model, and I'll put like the world overlaid in it, and that there's different ways that model of victim, persecutor, savior plays out, not only in our own dialogue. So teaching, that we have this self-talk or our private thoughts in our head that kind of like the movie screen, a projection sees the world that way. And then when we're engaging and having communication with others in our lives, you can even see and feel and experience that type of engagement's going on. If I'm telling a retrospective story, I might be telling it in first person, like I'm a victim, or in second person, like that person's a victim. So when I overlap the world, then I also show them how it plays out within a relationship. So not just their mind, but the relationship with somebody that they care about and love. And then even bigger on a macro scale is society at large. I mean, a lot of us are always talking about this, that we're so victimized, and you're in the health and wellness, our food is shit, our water's shit, our air is shit. Like, which, by the way, one of the names for our show we wanted was the Shit Show Solutionist or the Shit Show Strategist.
One of the two.
We would think
we like them.
I'm just
people talk about a shit show.
Yeah. And everything's a shit show. So when we say that everything's a shit show, it's like everything's a victim, persecutor, savior model running around. So I know that that's been helpful. What were you going to say?
Well, and the thing about this model, however you want to call it, victim, villain, hero, whatever you want to call it, the reality is that once you're on this triangle, you're all of them, right? So, when you first start talking to teens about this, they can immediately talk about how they were victimized or they heroed up on a friend. But rarely do they see themselves as a villain. But they see themselves as this hero or this victim.
That feels good.
What's that?
I said that feels good.
Right? Either feeling sorry for you or you get to be the rock star. But it's so interesting when you say, if you're on it, you're all of them. And then they just kind of sit back and go, ugh. And I said, yeah, I know. That's why you don't want to get on it. But what I love is like to show them how the triangle, how you do play all of the roles. And what's so interesting is when the original hero ends up in the victim role, another triangle begins. And this is why the shit show happens. Because you could have one triangle and you are the hero, ended up the victim, and you got to go find somebody that's going to hero up. Who's going to be your hero?
Yeah.
And it opens up another triangle. And this is why we can have hundreds of triangles spinning. And this is why people come in and say, I can't stop the chaos.
I like that. Somebody said we should call it the solution show. Like that. Solutions. Solutions are us.
That's a good one.
Toys R Us went out of business. Let's just do it. Solutions are us.
Solutions are us. I like that.
It's for kids too, right? We both love children and working with children.
Oh,
So I have a question. How do you explain to your adolescent clients that you work with both in school districts and outside of that they're a villain, that they're a persecutor? Because they don't like to hear that. So how do you explain that to them?
Basically, we always pick a scenario. So, like, where's a time when, do you have a friend that you're not getting along with? Or is there, we bring them right into a scenario that they can automatically, is there a time where you felt really bad, like somebody did something to you? Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
And so I bring it into their real life and we show them how they are a victim and they're looking for a hero. And who is the villain? And what we see right now, I have a lot of kids that talk about the mom trying to heroing up. Okay. That's an interesting one. Because the daughters,
do they make potato salad too?
That's a whole nother story.
I know.
We love potato salad. No, we don't. We got another one too. Breadcrumbs. We've got all sorts of fun tools that keep it light, right? Like, don't take yourself so seriously, but get your stuff together.
Yeah.
Get your together.
Do you give them examples of when they're a victim or a persecutor? Because I'll try to have them draw it out too, where it's like you called somebody a name. We're all guilty of calling somebody a name or overgeneralizing something in a negative perspective. I will ignore people and not call you back, so I'm punishing you with silence, which is unhealthy communication. I think we've all done something bad, and it's hard for us to admit that we've hurt other people.
For sure. That's exactly what you do is like, you pull out those little itty bitty, examples of where they can be. And then after we pull this out and we look at it, we always go into a week of observation. Call it the art of observation. It's like you're on a big cruise ship, just looking at everything. You make your favorite drink. So kids, I'm like, grab your favorite lemonade, stand on the observation deck and watch all this stuff go on. Watch yourself be the victim.
Perrier.
Exactly, Perrier. Watch yourself be a victim. Watch yourself be a villain. Watch yourself be a hero. Watch yourself. Get to know yourself. I had a teenage boy come back and he said, what I realized is I always want my brother to be the villain. My brother's the meanest. And the week before, my brother's the meanest. My brother's horrible. I can't stand my brother. He's the worst. My parents never stand up for me. They don't, They don't stand up for me enough. He came back the next week and I said, what'd you guys see? What'd you guys see this week on your observation? What, tell me what cocktail or what drink you had. And he's like, you know what? What I saw was I'm more of a villain than my brother is.
What? That's amazing. Talk about mindful, conscious.
Talk about mindful and gutsy. I said, this is huge.
Yeah.
He said, all along I thought it was my brother. And I'm like, your brother's a reflection of you.
Yeah, just Mirror of Love. Anybody wants that book? We got it for you. Mirror of Love. Let us know if you'd like a copy of Mirror of Love. Put it in the comments or PM us.
Yes.
Visit us at Divine One, our group Divine One. Do you have children walking in? Hi, babies. So you and I both have very similar stories. We both have 4 children. We're both single moms of 4 children, and my hair's not so crazy today. Yours is super crazy.
Mine is super crazy.
Mine's not too crazy today because I haven't washed it in a couple days.
Okay.
We both have 4 children. I have 4 teenagers. You have one that's an adult, right? I
have 2 that are adults.
2 adults, 2 teenagers. I've got 4 teenagers right now. Check this out.
8 children to 2 single moms.
Yep. Shit show.
Solutionists.
We're the shit show solutionists. You know what I really do want to do for our show is I want to pick a book, like a book of the month that is solution based, and then that could be our topic focus.
I love it. Because there's so many. And I think the thing with you and I is that we laugh a ton. I mean,
super playful.
We laugh at each other. We laugh with each other. We process stuff. So when people are going through hard things, it's not a big deal. Like, we've both been through plenty of contrast in our life.
I like that. Colorful. I love when people call my story colorful. I'm like, yeah, let's go with colorful.
It's really freaking colorful.
Yeah.
But you know what? It doesn't have to be that bad.
Lots of black and red. No, my life is beautiful. It's all blue. Check out this silk pillow.
It's gorgeous.
Here, solution number 1 to our listeners. If you get a silk pillow, look at how it's making my face red. If you get a silk pillow for us aging adults, it doesn't give you bedline like pillow where it like helps reduce your, and I don't know why, I just totally like converted to growing up at the beach and I'm using the word like a lot.
I really like it.
Yes. But my life is full of color and it's all beautiful rainbows and sunshines and butterflies.
We want beautiful color and contrast in our life. That's how we grow, But if we don't laugh at ourselves, and that's why this show is, you will be a blast. Because we'll take random shit and we'll laugh about it. People can talk about it. And we can make, like, we have a tool and Jamie and I laugh about it.
So my dilemma with naming it shit show solutionist, aside from the fact that it's a tongue twister, shit show solutionist or shit show strategist, it's totally awesome, but it's difficult to say. But also because we deal a lot with teenagers and children, I'm worried about the word shit in it.
I agree.
Cool. Glad we're on the same page. We get each other.
We do.
I like Solutions R Us.
I like that.
If anybody else has, Marianne, how about exploring mind potential? Ooh, mind potential. I like that.
Okay.
Well, we do have a company together that we're investors on, Divine One. I like Divine One. It's an awesome company, but I think the show will need a different name.
Yes.
Have you heard about the Chicago, the Mastermind Club yet? Shit on a shingle show. Can you see the comments? Sherry Foster. Did you mean to type that? Shit on a shingle show. SOS. Oh, I do like SOS though. That's great for branding. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Solutions are something. I don't know, but I like SOS.
How'd you get SOS and solutions R, JB?
What? Oh, because R, like O-U-R. R.
Oh, solutions
See the
hour.
ink R. R.
R.
R.
How'd you go SOS? What were you saying for SOS? What's she saying for SOS?
Because I can see the comments and you can't. My friend Sherry is putting on, she wrote shit on shingle show SOS. And now she's laughing and putting hearts. And my friend Matt's like, what? Matt, come up with a name for us. Come on, we've got lots of people watching. Come up with a name for our show. Two Crazy Blondes. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to keep. Okay, so our show is going to be.
Could be single moms solving shit. I guess.
But then with single moms, we would target only moms, and there's lots of dads watching.
No, oh my God, no. It's all the same stuff.
Yes, Matt, you are a genius branding strategist. Come on, Buddha, enlighten us. Enlighten us, Matt. Buddha. Matthew.
We're giving him some good mind stuff.
Two Crazy Blondes. Hey, can you hear my dogs barking in the back?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We're going to put them out when. Sorry, guys at Armed Radio. Somebody must be knocking at the door. I'm just going to ignore it. Okay, focus. I want to name a show ADHD because I think ADHD.
Ooh. I like that.
Ooh. I don't believe in ADHD. I think ADHD is a lie.
I do too.
I think the whole DSM is very dishonest. I got in trouble with my clinical license once because I wasn't behaving very well on camera and somebody spliced up the video and sent it to the state. I may have used the F word and referenced the DSM.
Maybe.
And I may have used one of my fingers while using the F word. Referencing my own profession. I don't think that flew very well with the Attorney General's office, among other things I did.
Life, JB.
Okay, but on a serious note, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. Honestly, I've always wanted to have this conversation with somebody, and you were perfect. We need to have an entire episode on it. So I'm a clinical therapist, right? Like I've got this amazing government of mine that says I'm cool enough to have a license. I went and got a bachelor's and master's degrees, and then I did 3,000 hours of a supervisor who taught me all of these strategies, these models, right? And deemed me worthy enough to hang a shingle that says licensed marriage and family therapist. And then I went back to graduate school and got a certification in applied behavior analysis, which was basically like 5 classes that is all focused on applied behavior analysis. So teaching us about like Watson, do you know Dr. Watson's the rat guy where he liked to torture kids with rats, and you've got Pavlov who liked to ring bells with dogs, and then you've got Skinner who liked to reinforce you with certain things and lock his own daughter in boxes, and so anyway, it's like I went to graduate school, did all of these degrees, and then I'm deemed by the state that I'm capable of now helping another person's mind, and then I have to give them a diagnosis that you're either ADHD, you're depressed, you're bipolar, you're autism, you're schizophrenic, you're personality disorder, you're all these things, right? Based off of categories or symptomology. So why is it that, though, the life coach market is a multi-billion-dollar market of independent humans, brilliant like yourself, that has amazing strategies and models that equally help people feel better, look better, have better, higher quality of life? So who's to say that this DSM and these diagnoses are true, that they're real, and that my way of treatment is far superior because there's some insurance god or some government god that's saying that these things are scientific? And yet there's a whole concept, of course, of monopoly And then free enterprise, free market is if there wasn't something to certified coaches, health and wellness coaches, you guys wouldn't have clients.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that? I know that was kind of like a big mouthful, but
because I had a consulting position that I was working at, actually a mental health clinic, and they were all therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, and then they brought me in because I didn't have to stand behind a licensure line.
Right.
So they crossed this, but they knew that there was stuff over here that I knew, that I also had strategies that they couldn't really talk about. So they brought me in, and we actually restructured the entire company based on bringing in some what's next, right? Like, so people go to therapy and they get diagnosed. So, you go to therapy, you get diagnosed, you get to have one session for a year, and then you're done, right?
It's 10, okay? They approve 10. It's called a parity. You only get 10.
10. Okay, so they approved 10.
It's called brief therapy, solution focused.
10 more. So I'm like, what do people do? Like, when these people are deemed well and insurance is done, what do you do? And that's where they brought me in. And that's where we started putting in programming as what's next. So,
that's a great name for a show, by the way.
What's next?
What's next?
What's next? And that's really, what I was there to do was like, okay, so they finish up this therapy, and what's next? Are they deemed well? And these people all of a sudden had all this connection inside their therapy, office. They felt safe where they were coming. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, great, you're ready. The insurance says you're done, so you're out. So I was building what's next programming around self-help skills, self-improvement skills, self-awareness skills, and stuff on the coaching side that we could keep going because I wasn't standing behind a licensure. I didn't need another diagnosis. I didn't need somebody to say, okay, you have to have this so you can get 10 more sessions. And so on the coaching side, we have strategies that we get to play with, and we don't have to have a diagnosis. In fact, when people come in and say, I have depression, I have an eating disorder, I have this, and they tell me what they've been diagnosed with, I always say, hey, that's awesome. Let's put it in the corner.
Yes.
Put it in the corner, and I want to talk to you. So I don't want to talk to your eating disorder. I don't want to talk to your depression.
I don't want to talk to your anxiety, your ADHD. I'm so this,
Yeah, I'm like, put it in the corner. List them off. Like, who gave
Why the corner? Why didn't you kick it out of the room?
Well, I just put it in the corner because,
they were on timeout.
They're attached because
the
person's attached to it.
Your disorder's on timeout.
Should be. We're out of here. It's true. They still want that because, again, why do they still want it? Because it goes back to the victim. Because if they this, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, hey, do you want to give up that diagnosis? Do you want to give up, do you want to give up that, victim? Mm-hmm. They're not sure. Identity is built in it, right? It's so interesting to watch it. So it's like, let's put it in the corner. Let's find out about who you are, and let's see what happens. So, that whole piece of coaching.
See, that in and of itself feels really good. That in and of itself, I think, would be empowering.
It is, because all of a sudden, then when they start to bring it in and they hide behind it, I'm like, oh, remember, we're leaving that over there. Mm-hmm. That's just an idea that you picked up that somebody gave to you, and that's okay. Like, if you want to have that, but when you're talking to me in these next 60 minutes, we're not talking about your eating disorder or depression. We're going to talk about what you want. What do you really want in your life, and let's go get it. And then here are tools and strategies to go get it. And that is kind of the that licensure line where you kind of have to stay right here. We get to, play a little differently over here.
Well, on the licensure line, when we don't play in the sandbox while we get kicked out. Or we get drugged. In my case, we got drugged.
It was in one of those colorful contrast years you were in, Jamie.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Yeah. So it's fun. I mean, it's fun and it's refreshing for me, and I think for them, they usually say, "Oh my gosh, usually everybody wants me to tell them, what have you been diagnosed with?" I'm like, "Tell me, and then let's put it over there.
Yeah,
and let's get out."
You tell them if they won't take the corner that Jamie says, kick it out of the whole room. It's done. We're not labeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty amazing, and I think that there's some beautiful relationship between the two, it doesn't have to be one or the other, but certainly what I love is like really having tool sets and skill sets to hand over that people can play with and use and see how it can impact their life, positively and moving forward. And that's what's fun, like real tool sets, including potato salad awareness.
Yeah, let's tell our guests about potato salad. I'm checking on time. I don't have a time reference, but that's okay. Do you know? Do you have a time reference? Does anybody know? Does it show how long the live has been on?
It's 8:30, I think, your time.
I don't know, because my phone's hanging out right here. Somebody will tell us how long the live's been going, because I want to hear about potato salad.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt. We've been on 40 minutes. Why does my face get white? Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
See my wrinkles. Like ghosts.
Okay, so
potato salad.
Potato salad. So we'll back up a little bit into there are 4 addictions or 4 obsessions of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And perfectionism, intensity, not working, focusing on what's not working, and the need to know. So
wait, say that again.
You want it slower?
Yes.
All right. So there are 4 obsessions.
My ADHD kicked in. It ran out of the corner and jumped in.
Kick that shit to the side.
Okay, bye.
4 addictions or obsessions of the mind.
Yes.
Pink. Think of Victoria's Secret pink.
Ooh, sexy.
We have perfectionism. P. I is intensity or chaos or drama. N is not working. The mind focuses on what's not working. And is knowing for certain. People are really paralyzed.
Need to know.
The need to know what the outcome will be.
Pink.
N is the one we're going to go with, potato salad syndrome. So N is where the mind cannot stop thinking about what is not working. It's completely obsessed. And all of us have those people that no matter what we do, we sit down with somebody and they cannot tell us enough about all the crap in their life and what's not working. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. Okay, so we have those people that it's constantly there. But then we have this other type of person that comes in and you're like, hey, how's life going? For example, how was the 4th of July? And somebody's like, oh my God, it was so awesome. It was gorgeous. We were at the lake or the beach and, the sun was out. The sparklers, the kids were having a blast, like the whole 9 yards. And then the person says, but my mom forgot the fucking potato salad, right? So then pretty soon, we're over here talking about one thing out of 99.
Beautiful fireworks, the boat popping off, all the hot ladies in the bathing suit, the beautiful breeze in their face, the amazing food, but no frickin' potato salad.
No frickin' potato salad.
Well, because 4th of July just isn't complete without potato salad. You have to.
So a client of mine tells me all these great things, and then she tells me about how her mom forgets the frickin' potato salad. We don't really care, but the mind does. And so the funny thing with this particular tool is to start to catch yourself. Start to catch yourself.
Okay.
With your potato salad syndrome, listen to yourself. Listen to other people. Hey, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great, but blah, 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 blah. It's like, why does our brain get obsessed with focusing on what's not working? Like, hey, notice it. Hey, do you want to make a change with it? Why does it keep showing up? Like that kind of stuff, great. But people really get into this chronic potato salad syndrome. And then the other thing is that I like is that when you know about it, you can also own it. So, for instance, you can call your friend and say, hey, I need to go potato salad syndrome for the next 10 minutes or next 5 minutes. Are you in? And your friend can say, yeah, I'm in. But it's just the mind rambling, being obsessed with what's not working. And that's what's great. So you play with this information around knowing the mind so you can get radically aware and things can get better. So these shit shows that are going on, you become radically aware of your own, and then you can speak in and own it and you can change. So yeah, when my brain goes into potato salad, I'm like, here comes potato salad.
I think the mind is so confusing because it's not like the hand. Like I can look at my hand and be like, say hi, pick my nose, hi, pick my, But this thing in between our ears just goes on autopilot. It's so conditioned, it's so patterned, and there's like 2 or 3 in there.
I know. Yeah. And how do you manage all of it? And so to have some of these playful tools to like make sense. Oh, I got off track. Oh, this one's involved. This is going on. It's like the difference. Like the kids will say, well, what's the brain versus the mind? And I always say, the brain is the matter, right? Like I could open up your skull, flip it on open, and there's the brain. Like it can physically touch the matter, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a million thoughts. You can't see it unless you try to watch it, right? But I can't go into your brain, pull out a thought and say, oh, Jamie's thinking about, her blue silk pillowcase that will keep her wrinkle free, right? I can't pull that out. That's the matter.
Matches the blue curtains.
How do we manage all of that? How do we look at all of that? And how is that preventing us from getting what we really want? Or how is it helping us get it exactly what we want? And that's what's so cool. But that's, learning all that stuff and figuring it all out is a blast. I love it. Coming up with frickin' potato salad syndrome. I can't tell you how many clients will text me, oh my God, potato salad syndrome. My mom is having potato salad syndrome while eating potato salad. It's hilarious. My mom forgot this actually happened. They were having this big family party and the mom forgot the potato salad. And one of my clients was laughing. She's like, my mom actually forgot the potato salad. And I'm like, this is awesome.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? I was talking to Sage, and I've gotten to the place where if I am not doing one of those 4 things, I'm just saying in a state of love, a state of positivism. I don't know what to talk about sometimes. Like I want to catch you up on my day and just so I went here and I did this and like that. But the mind doesn't know how to have an actual conversation.
Yeah. No, that's true. And to try, yeah, because the mind wants to just play in the ego side of it, or that the younger side of it versus the higher side of it, the divine self or the essence self. But it is true. The mind wants to play there. It's so easy to just have negative thoughts, even though we want to share about the positive. We also want to make it interesting, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want to not be valuable and interesting. So our mind wants to create interesting stories, interesting scenarios. And what gets people more jazzed up? Well, they get
drama.
But they love drama. It's the second one, the I. They love it. People love drama because then they're like, oh, thank God that's not me.
Well, all movies, all TV shows, all news. I mean, there's everything that we watch is a triad of that hero's journey, if you will. I mean, movies in Hollywood are written off of the hero's journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't our conversations be about the hero's journey?
I don't know.
But if you notice, like, we get exhausted listening to them,
Yeah.
We get it. We do. We find fatigue in that after a while. Like, I don't really want to hang out with that person because all they do is talk about negative things. So there's this balance between what we will accept and what we don't want to accept. Like, we like a little jazzy drama, but we don't want too much. That's that controlling part of the mind, too. Like, the perfectionism, I want it just enough that it's entertaining, but not annoying and fatiguing. So, I mean, it's a lot to try to look at.
Well, it's funny because I was just thinking while you were talking, the perfect show would be us for just 45 minutes trying to talk the whole time without doing those 4 things. But then my mind was like, that'd be the perfect show.
Damn it! Ah! You would watch it. Yeah, because we're like, oh, sorry.
Here we go. Solutions are us. What's next? Solution strategists. Solutionists. Solutions are our solutions. I don't know. SOS. Whatever. Is we could just tell positive stories. But how do you tell a positive story without a backdrop of some negativism? It's like the most heart-wrenching pain. One of the most heart-wrenching pains that I've been through is my son. He's to tell the triumph stories about him overcoming all of the things that we've been through, and yet he's still terminally suffering and sick, requires some level of that triangle. to tell, Ooh, drama detox. Somebody said drama detox. I like that.
Drama detox.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, the cool thing about that, like, you can tell the story deliciously yummy and awesome with all the details, unattach the emotion. That's part of it too.
That's a strategy. That's a tool.
Off the triangle and just tell it. So, for example, like, I have teenagers that come and say, all right,
Cindy
says, Miss Halo, they'll say, Cindy, I have a situation that I want to talk about off the triangle. Boom. Then I know I don't have to find a hero, a victim, or a villain. I don't have to get into that persecutor. I don't have to get into that. So some of it is just saying, hey, I'm going to tell a story, not attached to it emotionally. I'm just going to talk about it. I'm going to share it, right? So then it allows everybody involved in it to just be in what the share is, not deciding someone's a villain, someone's a hero, someone's been victimized. So that's a strategy too, is to just own it before you even start.
I've talked about this so many times. It's such a, I'm getting there, the place of atrocity that I deal with on a personal and professional level every day. It's like, I have clients, patients that are come back from intensive war. Many of us families in our community feel like it's war here. We deal with police officers beating up our children. We have, being called social services on, children taken away, abuse in the school district. Not having doctors. The list goes on in our own day-to-day warfare. And to tell that story that with the notion that there's no persecutor, there's no victim, to like analogous to war, somebody being, coming back from Iraq or wherever, Syria, wherever we're, as the U.S. going around because we love to police the world, and them tell that story. You see these things. This is a reality. Holding my baby boy having seizures is a reality. It's a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think that just being able to say, I want to tell this without inviting somebody, like, the victimization happened or didn't, there's so many beliefs on this stuff, and we'll just leave it at that if a victimization deems to have occurred, which we have plenty of opportunities in our society to deem that, sometimes it's just the issue is that as we tell the story and we invite more and more and more people into the story of the victimization, we become even more heavily burdened with this identity of being victimized. And then the more that we're victimized, the less power we have or empowerment to move out of that place of victimization, to actually find some healing or some changes or radical changes. Like you're a whistleblower, you push buttons all the time. We go against the grain, that it becomes less and less, a possibility or a greater amount of struggle. So to be able to say, hey, I had this experience, I've gone through my place of, I'm still working on coming out of the victimization of it or how I feel about it. I'm going to tell it off the victim triangle because I don't need yet another person to feel bad for me. I want people, I talk about in coaching a lot about, there are two different things. There's the hero, there's the egoic hero, somebody who's stepping in to save somebody. Now, there are situations where a hero is absolutely necessary. If there's a life or death situation, step in, right? Like, get in there. But we're in a society where we are heroing up on people all the time because we make up that they're a victim. So we talk about in coaching a lot of coming from a place of loving supporter, like essence supporter, divine supporter. Instead of seeing them as a victim, we come in and say, hey, I just can see, I see that perhaps I'd like to offer, could I be of service and how could I support you? Instead of making assumptions that they're helpless. Mm-hmm. And so I like to just invite people, no matter what their scenario is, not to create more people to see them as a victim, but you can tell your story, tell your experience, and tell your radical change out of it too.
Awesome.
If you're there. Yeah.
That was perfect. Thank you. We'll practice that next time because our show is coming to an end, darling.
All right. So,
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Cindy. You are amazing. Boy, are you yummy. Boyum.
Boyum.
Deliciously. What do you say? What should I?
Deliciously yummy.
Deliciously yummy with Cindy Boyum. And thank you to everybody for helping us out with our strategizing our names. We look forward to your input and reviewing those comments. And thank you again to Arm Radio and the amazing Jim and Joe, our producers over there. You guys are amazing. And Cindy, I love you.
I love you.
Peace, hope, freedom.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
She's just a girl and she's on fire, hotter than a fantasy, lonely like a highway. She's living in a world and it's on fire, filled with catastrophe, but she knows she can fly.